Hi guys, welcome to Vlogmas day 17. As promised, we went to Crumble a little earlier and we got ourselves the Grinch themed cookie. I think it's actually called the cookie that stole Christmas. I'm not entirely sure. You know what, you guys, I was gonna sit down and I was just gonna trust myself to just come up with something, because I could yap about pretty much anything. Just give me a second to think of something and I could talk myself into a certain type of thing. But I've been really thinking about this ever since I mentioned it in a video. I think it was Vlogmas Day 4 when I filmed that. I mentioned something about it's gonna be Grinchmas or whatever, and I looked like the Grinch. What I cut out was a little further rambling sesh, and then me saying, but wait a minute, why do we give them such a bad rap? And by them, I mean the Grinch and Scrooge, because those are the typical things that we say, like, oh, don't be a Grinch, or don't be a Scrooge, you know, but they actually turned out really good. So why don't we want to be like them? But let's get into that existential question as we try the holiday cookie. And I did get this confirmed. It is actually a sugar cookie. I didn't know that. But this is a sugar cookie with red frosting for the heart. Very simple, but very, you know, just very festive. We're just gonna break this. Look at that. We're gonna go for the heart. I'll think about the implications of that statement in a minute. Oh yeah, that is all sugar and that is all dough. You know what? I don't think this is a sugar cookie. I think that review was misleading. I think it's a snickerdoodle cookie. I'm not gonna lie, it tastes like that. Man, I love a crumble cookie. It's so simple and it's so festive and it's so on point that you just gotta give it a 10 out of 10 just for nostalgia reasons. I love that this is the first video that I'm filming today, and I have a whole tag video that I'm gonna do, and I have this type of frosting. This is the type of frosting that dyes your teeth all whatever color, so I'm gonna have red teeth. Might as well wear my green shirt. Call it Christmas, baby. As I was saying, sorry, if you guys don't like chewing noises, this is not the video for you. Go watch every other video on my channel. I was raised with manners. I do know how to eat properly. These types of videos, you just, you know, you expect the eating noises on a mukbang. I wanted to talk about this because I just keep thinking about it. Like I said, I made a statement and I erased it from the video because it was already long enough. But I went on a little rabbit trail of like, why do we say don't be the Grinch or don't be Scrooge when they became the best people for the holiday season and the holiday spirit and the best examples? Like, why do they get so much guff for that? Like, I really want to know. Like, I understand they didn't start all merry, but like, let me be a realist for a second. Neither are we. As my pastors always say, or one of my pastors always say, the season magnifies whatever's going on in life and what everyone is feeling. And sometimes that is loneliness. Sometimes it's depression. Sometimes it's anger. Sometimes it's bitterness. Sometimes it's jealousy. And I know we don't want to be like the party pooper or the Grinch or the Scrooge or the whatever. But if we're honest with ourselves, there is always a season, Christmas or not, when we feel more of the negative. And when I mean not specifically Christmas, I mean not that specific holiday. Any other holiday too. Thanksgiving is one for sure. Like, okay, so the last few Thanksgivings, like true Thanksgivings. Actually, Thanksgiving since I was 20 or 21. Yeah. I didn't celebrate Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving. I was always working. So there are some people who work during the holidays and they might feel lonely. They might miss their family. They might want to enjoy time with friends or family or people who are close to them. Or maybe even just want to go home and not do anything. But there's kind of a magnifying glass on that holiday, specifically because it highlights family. Much like Christmas highlights family, highlights merriment, time with friends. Sometimes you could have that move and you could be in a new place and everyone else is in their own places doing their own thing. Or maybe you guys are in the same state as the people you're close to. They might be doing other things or have other plans. You know, sometimes it could feel a little bit lonely. It could feel a little sad. I think, like, especially because, and maybe I'm really thinking about Scrooge because, you know, I went to the play and so it's fresh in my brain. But as he was going back into the past and he was witnessing Christmases where he wasn't alone, where he was with people, and you as the audience or the reader, depending on what medium you are intaking the story, you know, the book or the play or the movie, you get such an empathy for him because you realize there were Christmases where he celebrated. And you don't see that with the Grinch, but one can maybe guess that as a kid, maybe he did. So something happened to make him a little bit more cynical of the season. You don't just gain cynicism without some form of source, I feel. I don't know. Maybe the events leading up to the season and then maybe being alone by choice or by societal standing. Maybe it grew the cynicism. So maybe the circumstances also were a thing. And it, again, magnified. Again, maybe not. Maybe I'm reading it too much into it. Maybe I'm making it too philosophical. For the Grinch, maybe. But it already got philosophical with A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, okay? Let's be very clear on that one. But it just kind of, I don't know. It got me thinking. And like I've been thinking, you know, sure, they were villain leaning, but they weren't the villains. Of either one of them, of their story. So like, why do we not want to be like them? Because they had cynicism or skepticism or, you know, a negative feeling towards a otherwise happy, merry season. They had a moment of learning of what the season is and a realization. And And then they became like the forerunners of the season because they had the appreciation for it. And in a way, it was much more precious to them. Yeah? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking like too much into it. Obviously, right? I don't know how to say it. It's like they're not the villains of the story, and none of us see them as that. But yet, we don't really highlight the turnaround, you know? I just find that interesting. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm not making any sense. But like, maybe being a Grinch is the most realistic thing we could be. Because I know a lot of people in my life who are very, RBF. They're very that. Who have been through some life. Who are going through life currently. And they kind of feel not necessarily depressed, but maybe like lonely, anxious, pressured. And the busyness of the season isn't helping that for them. I know I've been there. And it's like, even with that, I think one can always find the holiday spirit. But sometimes, maybe we might be a Grinch. Maybe we might one day be feeling so low, we were like, bah, humbug, Christmas. But then in the end, you'll always hear, God bless us, everyone. You know? And Merry Christmas, pass out the gifts. You know? We always could get a little bit of both. I think it's really cool that we have characters like these that kind of remind us the truth that it isn't always everything that it looks on social media or out in public. That, you know, there are moments where maybe you could be a little lonely, be a little depressed, be a little, what is the point? That you are not hopeless to the season, you know? Like Scrooge. He wasn't hopeless. Sure, Marley died and he got his chains to bear. But something tells me that maybe he had a forewarning, potentially, before he died. And he didn't take that chance. Maybe that's why he knew. That's why he kept persisting. Right? Like, even with his attitude, he had a nephew that tried with him. He had a worker under him who he, like, honestly could say, you know, that word, who still respected him and cared about him and was willing to see him through a second chance. Actually, multiple chances, if we're being honest with him personally. He still had a friend that came back from the dead to warn him. You know, he had 3 visitors. He was not supposed to live past that night, and he lived past that night. You know, and again, maybe I'm going too far into it, but it's really nice to see that type of a story around Christmas time. It's also really good to see stuff like, oh my goodness, what is that one movie that everyone forces me to watch around this time of year? I think like Miracle on 34th Street, I want to say. Maybe. It's a Wonderful Life. That's the one. Miracle on 34th Street. I don't know where I got that from. The Grinch. You know, it's good to see. it's good to see, okay, this is gonna sound really bad, but just stick with me here. It's good to see people who are going through it around the holiday season and really work through within the story to be like, you know, no, it's not okay to just like dump all of your problems out on everyone and run out on your life. Okay, that's not okay. Well, what is okay is to have the emotion. It's okay to feel that. It's good to see that side of Christmas too. And then to have the storyline always come back around and be like, but this is Christmas, this is what it means, and this is why you are not alone. I don't know what got me in that mood, what got me to think of that, but yeah. Anyways, I'm done with my cookie. I'm done with the rant and the rambling because I don't know the direction it was going, but maybe it had a point, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you guys could tell me what my point was supposed to be, where I was going with it, because I feel like I lost the plot. I always kind of lose the plot a little bit every single time I start yapping with y'all because I just have so much fun. You know, I'm just sitting down, chatting with my besties, having a little snack, having my energy drink, and I'm feeling really good, which is good because I need to start filming. I need to start filming for Bookmas Day 7 because it's Bookmas Day 6. So, yeah, and later tonight I have my small group, and then after small group, I'm gonna try, maybe, I don't know, I might maybe go to Barnes & Noble and film part of my day 8, but we'll see, because I also want to film a little bit of day 9. I love how I was like trying to sneak the napkin. Here, I have a napkin. I'm wiping my hands of all of the grease of that cookie because let's be very clear, that was no cookie. That was a cake in cookie form, okay? As all crumble cookies are. But we love them, we appreciate them. Yeah, let's end it here on this silly goofy mood because I need to get getting on the filming. So, cheers. Anyways, y'all, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.